Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position on a blanket, towel, cushion, block, something that allows the back of your spine and the back of your neck to sit nice and long and tall, opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Let's gently close our eyes and soften our thoughts. Soften our eyes. Soften our shoulders. Soften our heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on the mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is celebrations. So we've had a long week of celebrations starting on Sunday with Father's Day. On Thursday, it was Juneteenth. On Friday, it was the beginning of solstice at 10:42 p.m. And then today is International Day of Yoga, which is always the 21st of June. So how did International Day of Yoga come about? It's fairly recent. So on September 27th, 2014, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, addressed the United Nations General Assembly and proposed an International Day of Yoga. He said, and I quote, "Yoga is an invaluable gift of India's ancient tradition. It embodies unity of mind and body, thought and action, restraint and fulfillment, harmony between man and nature, and a holistic approach to health and well-being. It is not about exercise, but to discover the sense of oneness within yourself, the world, and nature. By changing our lifestyle and creating consciousness, it can help in well-being. Let us work towards adopting an International Yoga Day." End quote. So 177 nations at the General Assembly, United Nations, co-sponsored the resolution, which was a record. In December 2014, just 3 months later, the resolution was adopted without a vote. It was unanimous. The solstice, June 21st, was designated as International Day of Yoga. And the first one was 6 months later, June 21st, 2015, exactly 10 years ago today. It was held in New Delhi, and actually in different places around the world, but New Delhi hosted the largest class in history. There were 35,985 students represented by 84 nationalities. There were women, men, children, and the Prime Minister himself led through 21 poses. So I played the video again for myself last night, and I can put that link in the upload. But it's just this sea of people, and they were all dressed in a t-shirt, except the Prime Minister, he wore white, and he was at the front, and he went through almost every pose. He got up and was walking around for a little bit of it. But it was just amazing to see this mass of humanity all in sync with one another. It's really cool. So we are going to reenact that class today. And so we're going to go through asanas, and then we're going to have a session of pranayama, and then meditation. And that's the way it was in this International Day of Yoga. And that actually follows the 8 limbs of yoga in chronological order. The 3rd limb being the asanas, the 4th limb being the pranayamas, and the 7th limb being meditation. And I have a guided meditation for you this morning. So I'm going to put slippers on that so it doesn't blow away. Take another sip. Bat some bugs. And we're going to start our yoga class. Oscar's joined us today. We're going to start standing up. So if everyone could kindly rise. And you don't have to do all of this. This is just me batting bugs away. So we're going to start in mountain pose with our feet a little bit hip width apart. And we'll start with some head and neck exercises. And these are, it's so nice to see that there's so many of the poses we do on a weekly basis are universal. I mean, they're part of the yoga classic poses. So we'll start in mountain pose with our feet rooted, grounded nicely on the mat. Legs are strong, little flex in the knees, navel's tucked to the spine, creating a nice long spine, back of the neck. Shoulders are relaxed, roll back. Crown of the head is reaching up to meet the sky, and chin is slightly tucked back. So we're going to start with bringing our chin down, looking down, and then bringing our gaze up toward the sky. One thing I'm not going to imitate from the that class 10 years ago is how far back their head went. A lot of their poses, they went back like that, which I think, based on the weight of your head, is not a healthy thing to do, but they probably built up to it. But so chin down, and then lifting toward the sky at an angle, not directly up. Chin down, sending the gaze back up again. And last one, chin down, sending the gaze back up again. And then come back to mountain pose. We're going to drop our right ear toward our right shoulder. And this, keeping your shoulders really relaxed, will help kind of ease into this. And don't force your head down toward the shoulder. Just kind of let it drop to its natural spot. And then come back up. And then left ear toward up. Right ear toward the right shoulder. Back up. Left ear toward the right shoulder. Back up. Left ear toward the left shoulder. Back up. And one last time. Left ear to left shoulder. Back up. And then back to mountain pose. We're going to turn our head to the right. Sending our gaze off to the right. And then come back to center. And then turn our head to the left. And then back to center. We'll do that 2 more times, turning to the right. Back to center. Over to the left. Back to center. And one last time to the right. Back to center and to the left. Back to center. And then we'll drop our chin toward our chest. And we're going to make circles with our head going in one direction. And then coming around and up. Again, not directly up, but at an angle. And then over to the right and down. Gentle circles. Do 3 of these in total. This is number 2. And then number 3. And then you reverse direction. Go up and around and down. Over to the right. Up and down. And one last counterclockwise circle. Up, down, and around. Alrighty, and back to mountain pose. Then we'll bring our arms up to shoulder height and keeping our mountain pose intact, our navel's tucked to the spine, shoulders are relaxed, around the head reaching up to the sky. And we'll do what I call now 180s, but this is where I got it from, the International Day of Yoga. So we're going to bring the right hand around in a semicircle, bringing it to the back, and sending our left fingertips to our right shoulder. Back again. Back to center, the arms outstretched, and then the opposite direction with our left fingers making a semicircle, right fingertips coming to the left shoulder, and then coming back to center. Make a semicircle again to the right. And then back again. And then to the left. And back again. And then we'll keep our arms out at shoulder height. And we're going to do 3 chair poses. So we're going to bend our knees, lowering our hips toward the mat, keeping our navel tucked to the spine, trying to keep our arms and thighs parallel to the mat. And then back up again. And again, lowering our hips toward the mat, keeping the arms and bring the thighs to a parallel position. And then back up again. And one last time. Bringing our hips down toward our ankles. And just pause here for a moment. And then coming back up again. We'll bring our hands back down. And interlace our fingers in front of us, bringing them up in front of us at shoulder height, and then sending our kind of just twisting our hands around so our palms are facing out. And then we're going to bring our fingertips over our head, and as we do, we're going to lift up onto our toes, up onto our tippy toes. And then lowering our feet back down, lowering our hands back down, coming back to mountain pose. Then we'll do tree pose on both sides. So I'm going to start with my left leg as my anchor, just feeling that connection to the mat, to the earth. And bring my right foot up, rest it against the thigh. Find my drishti to help stabilize me. Still mind, or still eye, still mind. And then bringing my hands up overhead. And then you can release, and we'll do that on the other side. Find that nice connection with your right foot to the mat, to the earth, sliding your left foot up to your thigh. And you can have that at any spot on your foot on the ground with your ankle on, or heel on your ankle, or on the shin, anywhere but your knee. Now find my drishti. And then raise my hands up overhead. And then release. Buds. Alrighty. And then we're going to do a forward fold. So we'll sweep our hands up overhead. And then bring our hands down to the mat. I'm going to suggest bending our knees, although they didn't, just to support our lower back. And then straightening our knees, sending the crown of our head down to the mat. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come down the heart center, and do a supported back bend. So this is how they did it there. They rest the palms on the back of the hips, relaxing the shoulders. And again, they drop their head way back. I suggest not to do that, but tucking your chin toward your chest, relaxing your shoulders, dropping your shoulders back. And then coming back up to mountain pose, and then coming into a wide-legged stance. So our toes are pointing to the edges of the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in, bringing our arms up to shoulder height. We're going to then pivot our feet to the left. Both feet go to the left. And then we're going to stretch our left arm forward as if we're about to grab something off the shelf, and then go into triangle pose. come back up again. Back to our wide-legged stance. Bringing our arms back up again to shoulder height. Pivot our feet to the right. Send our arm forward to grab something off a shelf and then send it down for triangle pose. And then back up again. All right. And then we're going to come to a seated position. So find yourself coming down to the mat, whichever way works for you. I've been trying to do it the way they did it on the International Day of Yoga, which was just, it was like magic. They just had their legs together and they came down and they sat on the mat. Oh, I can't seem to get that close without enabling my hands. So so we'll come down and then come into staff pose. So staff pose, our legs are nice and straight in front of us. Sit bones are nice and connected to the mat. Lift up and come down. Sit in this position for a minute. And then you come into cobbler's pose. Now turn this way. Cobbler's pose, soles of your feet come together. They interlace their fingers and wrap them around the toes. And then we're straightening up our back, bringing our feet as close to us as we can. And then we'll release that. We'll come into a seated twist. There's two options for this. Come back to staff pose. We're going to take our left foot and place it on the outer side of our right knee. And option one is the way we typically do it, kind of wrapping our left arm around our right knee, sending our right fingertips to the back, like straight back. The way they did it is they took their left hand and placed it by the inside of their left foot. So, and then twist. So either option. And then come back to center, come back to staff pose. We'll do that on the other side, bringing the right foot to the outside of the left knee, bringing the right hand down on the mat, placing it right beside the left foot, or right foot rather, sending the left fingertips behind us, nice straight back. And come back to center. And as I twisted, I don't know if you were able to see it, but there was a hummingbird sipping on the hummingbird feeder. It's one advantage of being outside. The bugs aren't, they're part of that advantage. All righty. So then we get into hero's pose. So we're going to come up onto our knees, hands and knees, and set back. Okay. Come onto our hands and knees. bringing our hips down to our heels. For hero's pose, nice straight back. You can do this on a block if this is uncomfortable for your legs and your knees. And then the next pose is camel's pose, and I have two options for you. One, taking yourself from hero's pose and just finding your toes back of you and placing the tips of your fingers against the tips of your toes and rolling your hands back down to the mat and creating a little bit of an arch this way. You'll stretch out your thighs. Or the way they did it on the video, they came up onto the knees, and just like what we do for the supported back bend, placing the palms of your hand on your hips and then rolling your shoulders back gently, keeping your chin tucked in. Again, they drop their head back. Not keen on that. But what do I know? We're yogis. 35,000 of them. So, okay, so camel's pose, and then we'll go into a wide-legged child's pose. So bringing your knees to the edge of the mat, bringing your big toes together behind you, lowering your hips to your ankles, and then extending your hands out front, or you can make a little pillow with your arms and hands right below you. Your choice. Forehead comes down. Okay, then come back up, and we're going to slide down onto our stomach, so you can come into like Sphinx pose, get yourself into a position where you're on your stomach, and we're going to have our arms fully stretched out in front, feet fully stretched out to the back, head down. Do a nice stretch, sending your fingertips forward and your feet down and out. And then bringing your hands right below your shoulders, elbows tucked to the side, and we'll gently lift our chin and chest up, coming into cobra. And then coming back down again, you can bring your hands back underneath your head, and we'll do a prone shavasana. So we're just relaxing here with our head resting to one side, either on the mat or on your hands. And then bringing your chin back to center. We're going to bring our arms alongside of us, palms facing up, chin gently resting on the mat, and then lift both legs up, for full locust. And then lowering the feet back down, bringing our hands right below our head again, and then turning our head to the other side, resting our side of our face on our hands again. Bringing our chin back to our mat again, center. Arms are coming alongside of us. Again, palms facing up. We'll do the full locust again by lifting both legs up into the air. And then lowering back down. All right, and then we're gonna roll over onto our backs. So you can move to the edge of your mat and then just flip over. Rolling over. And we'll do a climb mountain pose. So our toes are flexed up to the sky. Legs are strong with a gentle bend in our knees. Navel's tucked to our spine, kind of lowering our lower back toward the mat. Shoulders are relaxed and nice and snug in the mat. Nice long spine, and try to create it or bring it up into the neck by tucking your chin toward your chest. And then we'll bring our feet to the mat, bending our knees, and bringing your fingertips to your heels, or your heels to your fingertips, probably is a more accurate way. And try to get them as close to the tips of your fingers as you can. Then we'll go into bridge pose. So our hands are flat on the mat to support us. And we tuck our navel in, as we do with mountain pose, and then lift our hips up toward the sky. And we try and keep the fingertips in contact with the heels. And then gently lowering back down to the mat. We'll do this 2 more times. Again, knees are about hip-width apart, and they stay parallel to one another. Gaze is sent up to the sky. See a slight sliver of a moon in the sky, with the clouds floating around it. And gently tucking our navel to our spine. We're going to send our hips up toward the sky. And then lowering back down. And one last time. Bringing my heels closer to my fingertips. Tucking navel to the spine. Curving my tummy and lifting my hips up toward the sky. And then lowering it back down the mat. We'll come back to reclining mountain pose. Again, toes are flexed to the sky. Legs are nice, straight and strong. Navel tucked to the spine. And then we're going to bring our knees to our chest, wrapping our hands around our knees, giving them a gentle hug, and then lifting our chin toward our knees. And then relaxing our feet back down to the mat and sliding them down to the edges of the mat, preparing for Shavasana. Again, I'll have a series of pranayamas and a meditation after this. So let's just take a moment and rest and relax our entire body. Taking a deep inhale and exhale, allowing your body to just relax into the mat. When you are ready, you can roll over to your side and gently come back up to a seated position. So they did three pranayamas, three breathing techniques. And the first one is the Kapalabhati, which is the, as we did this recently. So your inhale is usually more the active side of things, and then your exhale is more relaxed. Well, the Kapalabhati breath flips that. So your inhale is still active to a degree, but your exhale is very active, and you're utilizing the muscles in your tummy as you exhale. So it's and this is a great breath to energize yourself, to clear out things. It's a very cleansing breath. So let's just do another series of that. All righty. And then the next breath that was done is the Nadi Shodhana, which is the alternate nostril breathing. And you can use any type of hand gesture to help seal off your nostrils. The one that we traditionally use is the Vishnu, which is a balanced mudra. So the thumb out ring finger and pinky out, and the index and middle finger bent down. So that's the Vishnu mudra. But in the video, you saw people just, using one finger to block one nostril and then flipping it over to the other side, or people were using different fingers, whatever works for you. That Vishnu happens to be a mudra for balance as well. So the Nadi Shodhana, the alternate nostril breathing, is one of the most classic breathing. It clears the nadis, are the channels that run up along your spine, both sides, and it clears you. We talked about chakras. It just kind of clears out the passageway of that, and it's one of the most powerful breathing techniques for calming and just anxiety, just an all around great one. So we'll do a few of that. So the trick with this is you're going to block your nostril at the top of the inhale and then breathe through the other nostril, and then inhale through that nostril again. And then once it reaches the top of the inhale, you're going to block that nostril. So we'll start. I'm going to block the right nostril, inhaling through the left. And when it reaches the top of the left, on the left side, I'm going to switch fingers and block the left nostril, exhaling through the right. And then I'm going to inhale through the right. At the top of the inhale, I'm going to block that right nostril, exhaling through the left. Inhale through the left. Switch fingers, blocking the left. Exhale on the right. Inhale on the right. Block that nostril. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Switch fingers. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Switch fingers. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. And then release. That actually did calm me down, trying to be at peace with all these bugs around me. And the last one is the Brahmari, which is called the bumblebee breath. And the Brahmari is a type of bee in India, like we have our honeybee here. So it's a bee breath because it's one of those great breaths to go to use right before meditation, because when you're humming, you're actually blocking out a lot of noise and thoughts, and it's just a real kind of it's kind of that white noise that kind of just clears everything out. And you can do that by just, the Brahmari is traditionally done by just putting your fingers on those little flaps of skin right where your ears are and closing off your ears and humming. Or you can add a mudra to it, and it's the Shamukhi mudra, where you're really closing out a lot of your senses. So you would place fingers on your thumbs go on your ears. The index finger goes on your eyes, so that's one sense. Middle fingers on your nose. Ring fingers right below your nose and the upper lip, and the pinkies right below your lip. So you're kind of sealing out talking, sealing out listening, sealing out seeing. So you can do the Brahmari either way, with or without the Shamukhi mudra. So we'll just do a few moments of that, and we'll come back, and when everybody's ready, we'll go into the guided meditation. So start with the humming. Alrighty, if you are ready, we can start with or finish actually with the meditation. So these 10 years of the International Day of Yoga, they've set a theme each year. So this year, 2025, the theme is Yoga for One Earth, One Health. Yoga for One Earth, One Health. And I've found a guided meditation by Kaya Roman, and it's a meditation for Earth. So I'll start the meditation. Find a nice, comfortable seated position. So to start, find a place to sit where you can physically connect with the earth. If you can do this meditation outdoors, that would be ideal. If you're indoors, visualize the bare ground underneath the foundation that supports you and connect with the earth in your mind. Find a comfortable sitting position with one hand on your heart and one hand on the ground. Take several deep, grounding breaths. Now bring your awareness to your senses. If you're outside, you should notice sounds, and I can hear the birds chirping, smells, and sensations coming from the environment around you. Without judgment, simply notice the sensory input your body is experiencing. Continue to breathe deeply and slowly. Now bring your awareness to your heart center. As you inhale, imagine you're filling your heart with love, and imagine that love spreading throughout your body. With each breath, feel the love in your heart expanding outward to fill the space around you, continuing to grow steadily. As you fill your heart with overflowing love, bring to your mind the many things you feel grateful for. Sorry. Bring to your mind the many things you feel grateful for. You may think of your own healthy body, people you love, nourishing food, clean water and air, and a comfortable home. Feel the power of your gratitude to amplify the love radiating from your heart, eventually encompassing the entire planet. Now shift your focus to the earth. Consider that everything that you experience, love, and feel grateful for is made possible by the incredible planet that sustains you. The air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat, and the materials that build your home and clothing all come from the life-giving planet you call home. Take this moment to silently thank the earth for all that you appreciate in your life. Expand your appreciation to all that exists simultaneously and harmoniously on the planet. Close with the mantra, healing the earth begins with my own healing. Love of the planet begins with the love in my own heart. And that note, we will close. I will stop the recording.